as the Lakers are in the midst of the Kyrie Irving for Russell Westbrook trade and trying to navigate and figure all that out and this roller coaster ride of just entertainment in many ways, right? I do believe it's a matter of when, not if, when it comes to Kyrie Irving becoming a Laker, but it's still interesting. It's still fascinating nonetheless. But of course, the Lakers are trying to expand and look at other options beyond Kyrie. Whether they get Kyrie or not, they still want to continue to add pieces that give them the best opportunity to win. And one of those pieces is an old person that they wanted for a while now, and it's kind of like the one that got away. And that person is Buddy Hield. Now, the Lakers are still eyeing Buddy Hield based on reports that they want to work out a trade to try to gain Buddy Hield from the Indiana Pacers. Now, what that trade would be, who knows? It could be a three-team deal with the Pacers, the Nets, and the Lakers. That's something that has been reported and been kind of rumored and speculated that the Lakers would try to get Buddy Hield. Brooklyn also wants Miles Turner, so maybe they could work out a package to where, Miles Turner goes to Brooklyn, the Lakers get Buddy Hield. The options are there. But beyond that, even if it's not a three-team deal, the Lakers are still trying to get Buddy. And in many ways, this just kind of feels like the girl you should have dated that you didn't. You went with the other girl, and that didn't work out, and now you kind of want that girl that you should have been with back. It's kind of how this feels with Buddy Hield, right? It kind of feels like the one that got away, and now they feel like they need to do whatever it takes to get him, just to kind of say like, well, we still ended with him anyway. Look, yeah, we got the Westbrook deal. Didn't work out, but hey, we still managed to get Buddy Hield regardless. There you go. And it just kind of feels like that move to kind of just justify and just kind of appease the fans and stuff. But don't get me wrong, if the Lakers could get Buddy Hield, that would be a huge benefit for them, right? He's a guy, dead-eye shooter, a guy that can really light it up and get hot. He would be fantastic around, LeBron, Anthony Davis, whether it's Westbrook or Kyrie Irving. Obviously, if it's Kyrie Irving, then that just adds more level to your scoring, create some spacing, things like that. Because the one thing the Lakers don't have, they got all the size, Thomas Bryant signing, all of that stuff, but they don't have that dead-eye shooter. Right now, statistically, LeBron James is their best three-point shooter from last year, which is crazy to think about. Even their new signings, LeBron has the best three-point percentage if you're going off of everybody's percentage from last year. So getting a guy like Buddy Hield would be huge. The problem is you're relying on just this one individual to essentially provide most, if not all, of your three-point shooting. And guys get injured, guys, don't play as many minutes. Like there's a lot of liability that falls on this, and a lot of, him having to deliver in ways that he likely has never delivered before. Now, Anthony Davis, he's been working with the lethal shooter, so hopefully he can get him back into the bubble Anthony Davis that was like 37% from three, even if he's not. If all of these guys can kind of just bump it up to league average, which I do think a lot of them will, because they're going to get more open looks than ever. Whether it's Westbrook or Kyrie, either of them are going to draw a ton of attention, which is going to free up the shooters. Same thing with LeBron James. A lot of these guys are going to get looks that they've never gotten in their careers. So obviously that is hugely beneficial and likely will increase a lot of their shooting percentage. But to add a guy like Buddy Hield, who has been the third best three-point shooter in the league behind Steph and Clay, that would be huge. That is a huge pickup. And he was absolutely great for the Pacers. But the Pacers are a rebuilding team. They want to recoup assets. They want to build for the future. Buddy Hield is up there in age. He's not, 23, 24 years old. So it would make sense for the Pacers to maybe look to move him depending on what the offer is. And that's my biggest concern. Like, what can the Lakers offer that the Pacers would want and get Buddy Hield? Like, would THT and a first do it? Maybe. It's a possibility. Maybe they work a three-team deal, something along those lines. We'll see what develops. But I do think Buddy Hield, if the Lakers can get Hield, that is a huge upgrade, a huge benefit, a huge plus, and would be a welcomed addition to this Lakers team. But that's not it. They also want Eric Gordon. Now, Eric Gordon is, again, another interesting guy. He shot like 41% for three the last several years. I mean, he's been dead-eye from three-point range as well. Problem is, he's a much older player. He's had a lot of injury history. He's not the same guy he once was. He would essentially just be designated to being your three-point sniper in many ways, which might not be a problem, might not be an issue, and he can be that. But, defensively, neither of these guys are great. Both of these guys are a bit of a liability, but the Lakers got a lot of athletic pieces, a lot of size now, right? With Thomas Bryant, Damian Jones, you got Anthony Davis, you still got like Stanley Johnson and Wenyen Gabriel and all of these guys. So getting a guy like Gordon, who I think would be a lot more easily obtainable, right? Because he's a guy that doesn't fit Houston's model right now. Houston wants to get assets. He's a guy that Houston would likely let go of cheap. So I do think something like a THT and a first would likely get you Gordon. You probably don't even have to give him a first. You could probably do a second or a highly protected first and a THT, something like that. Houston might welcome a player like THT more than anyone else because it's another young asset, it's another young guy that they could grow, develop, and build around with the team that they currently have, which is filled with those type of guys. So Eric Gordon, I think, is the most reasonable choice, and I think he would be the most easily obtained if a deal like this was to go through. My only problem is obviously if you can get Buddy Hield, go get Buddy Hield. My concern, though, with Gordon is just like, health-wise, how well is he going to be able to perform? How will he fit in? Defensively, you got a lot of issues. Like, yeah, if he's knocking down 3 or 4 threes a game, but he's giving up 20 points on the other end of game, like now it's a problem. But if he's a guy that's at the end of your bench, a guy that is just trying to, you just plug in spots when you need a big three or a couple big threes. He's a guy that can get hot and keep the momentum going. He's a guy that can kind of be your fire starter for a team like the Lakers. And the Lakers, again, they desperately need, out of everything, they need some shooters. They got the center position locked up. They got their athletic guys, their lengths, their defenders. They got everything they need, especially if they get Kyrie Irving. They get Kyrie Irving, scoring's not going to be an issue. But you need a guy that can stretch the floor beyond Kyrie. Anthony Davis, he may be able to be that guy. Thomas Bryant, we'll see if he can kind of return to form. There's a lot of questions there in regards to him. But we do have a lot of our shooting in the bigs, which is kind of interesting. But I do think that if you have the opportunity to get either of these guys, Eric Gordon especially, 6'4", he's got some size, can play shooting guard, small forward. He's a guy that, I definitely think could be a huge improvement and huge upgrade. But, I mean, obviously the dream would be Buddy Hield. And would they be able to acquire Buddy Hield? Now, both of these guys' contracts essentially expire at the same time. Both of them are free agents in 2024. So, you're kind of in the same ballpark. They're both making roughly the same. But my other thing and last thing that I want to kind of touch on, and then, I'll pass the question on to you, is these two guys, as great as they are, the Lakers are hesitant to take Joe Harris. And now I understand Joe Harris has a lot of concerns because of the ankle injury and the ankle surgery. But Joe Harris is arguably an improvement over both of these guys. He's not as good of a shooter as Buddy Hield, but he is a great shooter. He is high up there, but he is a much better defender, rebounder. He's bigger, everything. And same thing with Gordon. Joe Harris is the far better player than Eric Gordon. And the thing is that Joe Harris has the exact same contract as these two people. He's making roughly $18 million a year, 2 years, and that's a big issue apparently. And maybe it's just solely because the Lakers don't want to take that contract because of the injury history, because you don't know what Joe Harris is going to be or what he's going to be capable of. But I think Joe Harris would be the most obtainable. He'd be super easy because then it's just a straight swap. And not just that, but Brooklyn wants to give you Joe Harris. Maybe you can work out a deal to get Seth Curry also. And now you got two dead-eye shooters, and Joe Harris is the low-risk, high-reward type of guy, where if he returns to form, that is a huge pickup, both defensively and offensively, and it kind of is the same idea as these two, just better suited for this team. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I want to hear from you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. What do you think about the Lakers trying to acquire Buddy Hield and Eric Gordon? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Which one of these would you prefer? Me personally, like I said, if we can get Buddy Hield, absolutely. Go get him. Especially if you get Kyrie, because that would just be great, right? That would be a great spot for the Lakers. You'd have size, you'd have the shooters, things like that. Eric Gordon, same thing. Eric Gordon to me is more of a plan B. Obviously, if you can get him, great. I think he would be a lot more obtainable than Buddy Hield, right? But I think ultimately, like, if you can land either of these guys, I don't think it's a problem. But Joe Harris, like, if this is real and they really want either of these guys, why not take a look at Joe Harris? Why not take the chance? You get Kyrie, you get Harris. Maybe you can kind of convince them to throw in Seth because you're like, hey, we'll take Joe, but we want Seth too. Like, the guy's making $18 million a year. And on top of that, we have to take that salary, but we don't even know if he's going to be able to play. You know, like, we're not just going to unload Joe because you want it. Like, you know, so I don't know, but I think it would be worth the risk. And you likely don't have to give up any more assets, which then you can keep those assets. And if it doesn't work out, maybe go get a Buddy Hield or Eric Gordon. And then you still have Joe Harris and you kind of figure out what you want to do there. Hopefully you can get right, that kind of thing. But anyway, again, would love to hear your thoughts and opinions on everything we talked about in this video. Which two of these guys would you like the most? Let me know down in the comment section below. That being said, hit that like button. Helps me out a lot. Lets me know you enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button, followed by the bell notification. Stay up to date with all things sports. Join this wonderful community and all of our discussions. I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you.